Hey everybody, welcome back to another Warhammer Many Years Late review, and yet again I forgot to double check exactly how late this one is, but this one's actually pretty new as far as Warhammer Fantasy books go. So the title and the thumbnail will tell you exactly how many years late. In fact, if I go here and check the copyright, I'll have a pretty good idea. It's gonna be, what does this say, 2013. Oh, this is not that old at all. We have like a 8-year-old book, not even 7 years old. So here we go. We're doing Wood Elves this time, and a few things I want to cover before we get into this Wood Elf book. Actually, a number of things. One, we're going to go ahead and talk about this book from 8th edition standpoint. So we're using this book in 8th edition, and I'm going to review it kind of in a semi-competitive type of way. But because Warhammer Fantasy in the competitive setting, I'm sorry, in a tournament setting, has so many different comp systems, basically extra rules added to the game to balance and streamline, well, more to balance things. There are a bunch of different types out there, and then if I were to review this book with, say, one comp, I have a different review compared to a different comp because the way you make your lists are slightly different. Actually, I'm not too sure how much the comps affect the Whittles, being one of the later books, but that's just a caveat to get out of the way. Secondly, when I say I'm going to review this book, I'm going to review it from a competitive standpoint. I'm going to define what competitive means to me because it means something different to everybody. So, narrative goof around play, competitive play, tournament play. Competitive play, you're going to try to win, but you're not trying to be that guy. That's how I'm coming with this book. And just because I say something isn't great doesn't mean you never use it. I'm a big what's the word I'm looking for? Advocate for buying everything from your book and playing everything a little bit because every model deserves a little playtime. And then another thing we're gonna talk about is the audio. Hopefully, audio is corrected in this video. There was an audio issue for a number of videos where my audio kept dropping out here and there, but it wasn't happening during live streams, which is weird. But I think I ran down the problem. So long as there are no audio issues in this video, it has been corrected, and then I will credit the person who saved me with a very simple text, but I don't want to throw them under the bus in case there is an audio issue. But I think we're good. Is that it? Did we cover everything? Oh, one more thing. I believe if you're watching this video on a mobile device, you are still seeing a metric butt ton of ads. I don't know why I can't control it. I can't remove them. To help you out, just skip to the end of the video and then skip back because these are all going to be overlay ads and you don't have to worry about them popping up all over your screen. So go right to the end of the video and then go back, start over again, or to about this point. That's it. Let's talk about what else. This is one of the last Warhammer Fantasy Battles Army books that came out. I can't remember the actual order. If it was the, I think Dark Tales was. I can't remember. One of the last. One of the newest, all things considered. And an army that has always been, I won't say near and dear to me, but you know what? I think I can say that with every army. So back when I first started playing in 5th edition, I played Bretonnia or bought Bretonnia. I didn't really play that often. Um, I honestly, for the life of me, can't remember if I had Wood Elves or if I always meant to buy Wood Elves. I literally don't remember. I always had this idea of like Wood Elves being like Athaloran being so close to Bretonnia, and they're having ties obviously that like it would be a good ally army to have. But that's neither here nor there. That's 12-year-old Steve thinking about things. Okay, let's talk about the Wood Elves. They are, if I remember correctly, an army that kind of sits in between the high and the dark in this current iteration. They are technically good guys, but they don't care for nothing and nobody. Mm. And I guess I want to talk about how I feel the power level of this book, but I need to point out the fact that I'm actually incredibly unfamiliar with this book, other than reading it a whole bunch of times years ago. my Excuse me, my tabletop experience with this book is incredibly limited, so keep that in mind as I talk about this book. I'm not that actually experienced with it. Okay, so what else? How I kind of see them is an army that hard to learn, hard to master. Okay, Warhammer Fantasy Battles 8th Edition is one of the hardest ever to learn miniature war games, in my opinion. Well, okay, hardest to learn is one thing. Hardest to master. To learn all the nuances. Like you can learn, okay, you learn the game, which isn't the easiest thing to do because it's very convoluted and not well written. But then to master the game takes a lot of time, right? And then I feel Wood Elves add to that. Once you master the game, these are playing different armies. You can kind of master them in relative, varying already very sort of how fast to master them. You want to master ogres, it takes you 20 minutes. If you want to master Wood Elves, it's going to take you even more time. This is a super finesse army. I think this army is really powerful, but has a big learning curve. That being said, let's start talking about the army special rules. They have the Blessings of the Ancients. Mauls with this rule, you get +1 to cast while they're in forest. Nice. They have Ambush from the World Roots. Wood Elf army can always place an additional forest, use a Citadel Wood, on the battlefield. This is done during deployment before any units are deployed and must be placed wholly in your half of the battlefield. The forest is not a mysterious terrain. Declare its type when you place it. That's kind of cool. If you cannot fit the forest on your half of the table, move other terrain features by the shorter distance necessary so the forest can be placed. If you still cannot place the forest, more extra rules. Okay, you get a free forest. I think Wood Elves pretty much always have that, and it kind of makes sense. You don't want to end up playing in a desert and then not have a forest somewhere on the table, right? It just pops up. Their magic's putting it pop up. Some models have the Forest Spirit special rule. What do they gain here? Their attacks, whether they close combat or shooting, are magical. And if it's not a mount, it has a 6 ward save and is immune to psychology. Okay, so they're little forest demons. And then there's the Forest Stalker special rule. Models with the special rule. Well, there's 3 paragraphs. All models in the unit that have a Forest Stalker special rule fire 1 more rank than normal. Cool. All models with special rule can make sporting attacks 1 extra rank than normal. Okay, so it's high elf plus like extra ranks of shooting and ooh, not fully that. So models with this special rule have the models with this special rule has the Forest Strider special rule. So you get Forest Stalker comes with Forest Strider. Understood. In addition, if at least half the models in the unit are within a forest, they fire in an extra rank. They fight in an extra rank. All models. Oh. Okay, here's exactly what this is. It is the High Elf and the Dark Elf special rules, while at least half their models are in a forest. So the last paragraph is the Forest Stalker special rule. You reroll wounds of 1 when making close combat attacks. Okay, so my gut says this is bad. Not bad. Not that interesting. Not more interesting. Okay, here. This is an incredibly restrictive army-wide special rule. So you have the High Elf fight an extra rank, shoot an extra rank, and the Dark Elf reroll 1 to wound in melee. So long as half your models are in the forest. Now, granted, you can guarantee at least 1 forest on the table, but I immediately start to think about, well, if I'm playing against Wood Elves, do I want to add forest to the table innately, like before the game even starts? Do I want to do that because I'm playing Wood Elves so they can use their rules? Or do I want to not put forest on the table because they benefit too much from them? Well, that doesn't seem fair. I think most of the tables I play on have some forest. Whoa. You probably didn't know anything, but I had a little power flicker. But, okay, so those are good rules for the 2 armies. Unfortunately, you're a little restricted. So in practice, how often will do that? Okay, let's talk about the army of Torgalon. I've never heard this word, Torgalon. Okay, so we're gonna talk about the Astari longbow first. Asari? Azrai? ASRA. You know what? Some fake elven word longbow. It's range 30, strength 3, armor piercing, volley fire. So, Wood Elf longbows are armor piercing. I think they used to be like +1 strength at half range. I'll take armor piercing. It's almost as good. Wait, would you rather armor piercing all the time or strength 4 at half range? Who cares? They have armor piercing now, so you know what? We like armor piercing. Blackbriar javelins are just okay. Their javelins are armor piercing. The Ashari spear is just their spears are armor piercing. That's it. Okay. So they get a bunch of weapons that are armor piercing. Next, we have enchanted arrows. Some models of Wood Elf army have the option to purchase enchanted arrows. These are enchanted items. We're going to talk about that in a minute. These are enchanted items. But do not prevent a model from having a second enchanted item. Each time an enchanted arrow replaces the profile of an Asari longbow with the one shown in entry, this is not optional, the model has enchanted arrows. He must put them, well, he must use them in the shooting, he must shoot them. Okay, so basically, if I remember correctly, these are paid unit like upgrades. So like, I'm gonna go ahead and check. Let's say your standard. Yeah, okay. So you purchase these arrows for a unit. You pay per model in the unit. Oh wow, we're gonna go back and forth on those for a bit. Okay, so before we get into what they are, I want to point something out about these enchanted arrows. This actually, so if you guys are aware, Josh from Mini Wargaming has recently purchased a Wood Elf army to play. And there was a great debate about whether or not we were going to let him use enchanted arrows on different, like, sorry, how do I phrase this? If you want to buy arcane bodkin arrows for more than one unit. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 6 different types of enchanted arrows, and rules as written. You can argue you can only one unit can have arcane bodkins. Only one unit can have starfire shafts. Only one unit can have swift shiver shards because they're enchanted items. You can't duplicate them. So it states the rule, right? I don't think that was the intent. So I kind of led the charge, being like, no, I mean, any unit can buy any of them. They are magic arrows, they are enchanted, whatever. But I honestly don't believe the intent was only one unit can buy Moonfire, only one unit can buy Hagbane. I could be wrong. Now, I looked greatly for an FAQ to address this. I actually did this again today before recording this video, and I was unable to find any kind of answer on that. In fact, I very easily found Wood Elf FAQs for different books. I don't understand why. I can't find the one for this particular book. So, I mean, if anybody has any information about that, but moving forward, I'm going to continue reviewing this book as if enchanted arrows can be purchased from unit to unit in duplicates. Basically, like, all my units can buy Swift Shiver shards if I so want them to. That being said, if this is a big deal for you, look in the comments for important information. I'll try to pin important things if you absolutely cannot. Now, the intent was, if we ever found for whatever reason it was too powerful, which I don't think you could argue, then we would go ahead and address the fact that maybe you can only have one unit, or only one unit can have Hagbane or whatnot. But that being said, we're going to go ahead and review these arrows now, as if any unit that can purchase enchanted arrows can purchase any one they want. Okay, so arcane bodkins are 30-inch range, strength 3, volley fire, and they have the -3 to your armor saving throw. So these are really good at punching armor. Arcane bodkins, on just like your standard archer, is going to cost you 5 points per model. That's a pretty hefty increase. Hagbane tips are armor piercing and poison. Hagbane tips are 3 points per model. So poison is actually not bad. I actually really enjoy poison. Moonfire shots, they're flaming. And they have +1 to wound against models from the forces of order. Moonfire is going to cost you 4 points per model. Starfire are also flaming, but they are +1 to +1 to the wound roll for forces of destruction. Swift Shiver shards are multiple shots too, and armor piercing like the regular rules for longbows. And for multiple shot 2, you're basically playing 4 points per model. Not terrible options. And then True Flight arrows. They're just the standard longbow profile, or sorry, the standard Wood Elf longbow profile. Do not suffer penalty to hit. So moving, no penalty to hit. Range, no penalty to hit. Hardcover, no penalty to hit. That is so good. Now, to counter my own argument a few seconds ago about letting anybody take any arrows you want, when you allow the units, say you have 3 units like Glade Guard, your standard core troop archer, and they all can buy arrows, well, they all just buy True Flight. When you allow every unit to purchase the same arrow, everybody just buys True Flight. It is quite unfortunate. So I'm just gonna go ahead and set something out here to show off later. Okay. Yeah, so I don't know. All those arrows seem useful. Oh, sorry, Truthlight arrows. How many points are they? They're 3 points per model. They're also one of the cheapest. That's insane. Truthlight arrows are just so far and away the best one, in my opinion. And I think in many people's opinions. Okay, let's start talking about the units, and we're going to be ending up going flipping back and forth throughout this book. So we're going to start off with the Highborn of Athel Loren. Those are the Glade Lords and the Glade Captain. So Elven stats, you're going to have weapon skill, sorry, movement 5, weapon skill, this skill 7. Strength 4, only toughness 3 because you're an elf. 3 wounds, initiative 8, 4 attacks, leadership 10. And for all those hefty stats, you're going to play 145 points, typical elf stuff. And then the Glade Captain has, the similar stats with similar reductions. -1 weapon skill, -1 this skill, -1 wound, -1 initiative, -1 attack, -1 leadership. And then you're going to pay significantly less. I'm going to go ahead and assume 70. There's 75 points for the Glade Captain. Whoops, I hit my mic. And he can be the BSB. The army, every model, well, I shouldn't say that. Every elf model has always strikes first, and the Force Stalker special rule. We're going to go through Force Stalker. We know always strike first. If you're an elf, you love it. If you're not an elf, you probably hate the rule. They have the Arrow of Kurono special rule. Once both sides have deployed, but before the first turn begins, check to see if the enemy general is within 36 inches and within line of sight of at least one model with the special rule. If he is, he immediately suffers a strength 3 hit against which no armor saves can be taken. Otherwise, nothing happens. So, you might snipe out the general and do 1 wound before the game starts. It's a whatever rule. It's kind of cool. I wish it was more impactful. It's just 1 wound. But 1 wound could be a big deal. Do the captains have it as well? Yeah. But it does say if 1 or more models... Oh, in line of sight of at least 1 of the models with a special rule. If he immediately suffers. I think you can argue he takes 1, no matter how many models you have. You're not going to kill him. Or else I would just take, maximum Glade Captain. No, that's a bad idea. Alright, so Spell Singers are going to be your wizards. Standard Elven stats for wizards. Movement 5, weapon skill 4, strength toughness 3, 3 wounds, initiative 5, leadership 9. And then the hero level 1 has the appropriate downgrade in stats. Now, the Spellweaver is 185 points, 35 points for level 4. And then your Spell Singer is 80 points, 35 points for the level 2 upgrade. And these models can also purchase the longbow, the Wood Elf longbow. So you can have as many shots as you want. What do we have for rules? Blessing of the Ancients, Force Stalker always strikes first. Okay, so Spellweavers and Spell Singers are wizards. They can use one of the 8 lores in the Battle Magic in the rulebook. Spellweavers can instead either use the lore of High Magic or the lore of Dark Magic. Ooh, so they have the lore of High and Dark. They no longer have their own lore. Did they lose that? Oh, they did. Oh, that's unfortunate. They really did just make the middle of the road in between High and Dark Elves. Okay, well, what are you gonna do? So you have to have a level 4 to take High or Dark. Or sorry, level 3. And the other one can take from the 8. Okay, well, okay, sure. So, you're still an elf. You still have access to all 8. Plus, High Magic can be good for certain armies. I don't know how it's good for this army is going to be. We're going to review that. And Dark Magic, I think, is one of the best lores in the game. Well, sorry, one of my favorite lores in the entire game. I just want to go ahead and check what's coming up next, because I think I'm going to go ahead and just skip around in this book. Yeah, we have some more lords and heroes to talk about, but they are foresters. So we're going to move on to... Oh, man, I don't like the way this book is laid out. Because there's a bunch of heroes in this book. Okay, so you have your Spell Singer, your magic level hero. You have your wizard level hero type thing. You have your Glade Captain is your standard elven nobility hero. But we also have Shadow Dancers, Waystalkers, Branch Wraiths. And then those are basically hero versions of a special type of unit. You know what? Because of the way this book is laid out, normally I would review those right now, but I'm going to review those hero level type of characters when I get to those units just the way, because they're on the same page. You know, this keep me from forgetting anybody or leaving anybody out. So I believe the next thing we're going to hit is going to be their core units. Now, these books are pretty, but they were frustratingly laid out. Okay, so we have Eternal Guard, your standard Wood Elf Warrior. I'm going to go back to this page. We have multiple pages available to us. These videos could really use some editing, but we don't do that. Eternal Guard, here we go. So Eternal Guard are going to be 11 points per model. Movement 5 and weapon skill 5. Pretty solid for a core troop. Ballistic skill 4, standard elf stuff. Strength and toughness 3, 1 wound, initiative 5. And 1 attack, leadership 9. Ooh, leadership 9. Okay, alright, so these Eternal Guard, these core spearmen, have stats similar to your standard elven special troop choice. They come with the Wood Elf Spear. That's how I'm going to say it. I can't say that word. So they're armor piercing. They have a hand weapon and light armor. They have always strike first. They have stubborn built in. That's interesting. With the 4 stock of special rules. So they fight in an additional rank as long as half their models are in the woods. They can take shields at 1 point per model. Now, I feel like I gotta go back and check the Asari Spear. No, it's a regular spear. So I believe there at one point there was a version of these with their spears being two-handed. And they have a magic standard worth of 25 points. Okay, so I like the stats on these guys. Okay, so we have you're gonna buy a shield. You want that 5 of armor save. Weapon skill 5. Stubborn armor piercing spear unit with always strikes first at 12 points per model. That is solid. Now, I wonder how well they fit to the play style of the Wood Elves. They don't really want to play. I mean, you could. You could play rank and flank with this army. But this army doesn't want to play that. It wants to play guerrilla warfare. It wants to move around. It wants to kill you with bows, soften you up, and then send in the hard-hitting elite stuff. So it's a really cool unit, but I don't know how well it fits into the typical Wood Elf playstyle. That being said, you could absolutely make this unit work, whether it be a horde or not. You don't need to go rank steep at all, because you have stubborn built in, which is a huge boon. I think with some Lore of Life buffs, this is going to be a nasty unit. Actually, some Lore of Shadow buffs, this is going to be a nasty unit. And then we have the Glade Guard. These are your standard Wood Elf bow units. This is where you're going to spend the majority of your core points on. So Glade Guard are standard elf stats. Movement 5, weapon skill 4, initiative 5, leadership 8. They are 12 points a model, and they only come with a hand weapon and a Wood Elf longbow. They have the 4 shocker and always strike first, but all the elves do, we don't have to go over that, and can purchase those arrows. They can have a magic standard worth 25 points. Oh, sorry, 1 unit can. So 12 points per model. You're going to probably buy True Flight arrows, so 15 points a model. So you buy 10 of these archers for 150 points, and you're going to fire 10 shots hitting a 30-inch range, whether you moved or not, in the forest or not, hardcover or not, hitting on 3s, 100% of the time. And now that anything in the game can be wounded on a 6, right? This just throws weight of dice at people. So I really dig the... Give me 1 second, I'm going to try that. Alright, audio didn't cut out, I turned it off. Okay. So, Glade Guard, I dig the idea of them. Spending 150 points for 10 of these archers with True Flight arrows is a good price to pay. I'm happy to spend my core points on that. I wouldn't complain. So, I mean, you're going to spend 500 points on core, typically. And there are other things to talk about in core in this book, so we're going to go into a second. But having 2 units, these for me, being 300 points of the core, is going to be standard. Having all 500 points of core put into Glade Guard, I wouldn't complain. That's how I want to play my Wood Elves, just a lot of bows. And then you can have the Deep Wood Scouts. These are it's the same model kit, but it's archers that skirmish. They're going to be special units, and they're going to be 13 points base, but can have the arrow upgrade. So 16 point space if you go ahead and buy True Flight arrows for them. But they gain Scout Skirmisher. That's it. Not a bad point cost to pay, especially for always sitting on 3s. If you're allowing multiple units to purchase the same arrows. And then the next page over is the Knights of Athel-Loren, but we still have some core units to talk about, because the first one is Glade Riders. So these are your elves on horses. Glade Riders have always strikes first, ambushers, boo, fast cav, 4 stalker. But they are a core troop choice. Or a core unit. I keep saying troop choice because we keep using 40k terminology in here. With standard elven stats, they come with a Wood Elf Spear and a Wood Elf Longbow. And the riders have always strikes first. They can purchase all the arrows. They're 19 points base and can buy full command. Now you're only going to have 6 up save because they don't come with any armor. But the fast cav, and you know I love my fast cav. I'm just not a big fan of the ambusher part. But it's thematic for them. I think they're kind of forced into something, right? I'd rather you know what? I'm not sure. I was about to say I would rather just have my horses run up the flanks and do their thing, but so long as you don't roll terrible on your ambush and you're coming out, you basically need to come up the field, farther up the field, in a much safer position. Because turn 1, they often don't do the thing you want. Because what you don't need these Glade Riders to do in a typical Wood Elf army is redirect turn 1, because you're going to be all grilly anyway. You don't have a big horde up front. Now, if you were to play a big horde of infantry just to go ahead and melee and fight or whatever, you're going to want these near your lines to redirect turn 1 if your opponent has another fast army. But other than that, you know what? Ambushes isn't a terrible rule for them. Nice models, but I don't think they are a necessity in a Wood Elf army by any means. We're going to talk about unicorns here, but that's just going to be an upgrade unit for characters. So if you purchase unicorn's movement 10. They have magic resistance 2, cause fear, and then they have a big old horn like a lance on their head for +2 strength on the charge. And is there another? That covers all the core units. And we're going to jump to the next section, which are Warhawk Riders. You know what? I haven't seen Warhawk Riders on the table since, like, I think 5th edition. Let's see if I can find them. Okay, they're over here. So Warhawk Riders are elves riding Warhawks. Surprise, surprise, right? So they have the Wood Elf Spear and the Wood Elf Longbow. The Warhawks attacks themselves are armor piercing. They are flying cav with the 4-stalker and a predator descent special rule. So the elf is obviously an elf, and the hawk itself is movement 1. Who cares? It flies. You know that. Weapon skill 4, strength and toughness 4, 3 wounds. 3 wounds. Initiative 5, 2 attacks, leadership 5. 45 points a model. What? Okay. Why have it? Buy these. You're going to want these. Now, the unit size is 3+. They're not cheap, but these are essentially Great Eagles. Now, they have almost exactly the same stat as a Great Eagle, except for the Hawk itself has lower leadership, but who cares, because the Rider has leadership 8. Which is exactly the same leadership as a Great Eagle. And it's monstrous cavalry. So you use the monstrous toughness and wounds. So it's just a Great Eagle. Now, A little cheaper than the Great Eagle, but you get more attacks. You get the bow attacks, and you get the spear attacks from the rider. But you have to buy 3 units. Oh, I like these a lot. Okay, so what is this Predator Descent? On the turn in which a Warhawk charges, it has the Killing Blow special rule. Okay, sorry, I just noticed something. The Warhawk only has 2 attacks, for a Great Eagle would have 3. But the rider gets the extra attack. I love this unit. Oh, right, next thing. The next thing over is the Great Eagle. Movement 2, weapon skill 5. It's slightly better weapon skill. Strength toughness 4, 3 wounds, initiative 4. Oh, the Warhawk's only initiative 3. 2 attacks, the initiative 8. Either way, I love the Warhawk Rider unit. Toughness 4, 3 wounds per model. You get no armor save, but who cares? You have toughness 4, and you just try to stay out of range and line of sight of things that can hurt them, like bows. But, I mean, whatever. Oh, I dig that. I mean, they're gonna be -1 to hit with bows because they're a flying unit. They're flying fast cavalry. They're gonna be skirmishing. Okay, Warhawk Riders. Love them. Sisters of the Thorn is next. Is that what's next? Nope, not what's next. Wildwood Rangers are next. Sorry, this book has a level of confusion built like the Dark Elves. Well, not confusion. It's poorly. Okay, Wildwood Rangers are going to be... I'm going to guess... Yeah, they're a special unit. They are 11 points per model. Weapon skill 5. Ballistic skill 4. Weapon skill 5. Leadership 9. Otherwise, typical elf stats. They come with a great weapon and light armor. They are immune to psychology, and they have Guardians of the Wild Wood. And then always check first 4 soccer, obviously. And they can get magic standard worth of 25 points. Okay, so Guardians of the Wild Wood. I hope it's a good rule. As I try to find the proper page. Oh, I was on your page. If a model with the special rules in base contact with at least one enemy model that causes fear or terror, +1 attack. Okay. A bonus if you're fighting undead or monsters. It doesn't look as if you're paying for that bonus in the point cost of the model. They seem relatively cheap for what you're getting. 11 points, light armor, whatever, what else? Great weapon with always strikes first at initiative 5 and weapon skill 5. Immune to psychology. I mean, rerolling 1s to wound if you're half in a forest. Extra attack or extra fight, extra rank if you're half in a forest. Not bad. You seem like a bargain there. I don't see the value to them though. I don't know what role they fill in the army that can't be done by other things we'll talk about later. I don't think you really want to play rank and flank with these guys. Maybe a small unit. No, I was going to say even maybe a small unit for flanking and stuff. There are other things that do that job better. I want to love them. I love the models. I don't know how they work in a Wood Elf army. That being said, you absolutely can make these work in a Wood Elf army in your playstyle, but they don't fit into the typical Wood Elf playstyle, which is unfortunate because they're really cool models. War Dancers are next, a very iconic and long-lasting Wood Elf unit. One day I'll play a Elven Barbarian in D&D, and I'll use a War Dancer model. Okay, so War Dancers are going to be a special choice at 15 points per model. They have standard Elven stats, except they have weapon skill 6 and initiative 6. They come with 2 hand weapons. They have immune to psychology. They are skirmishers. They have talismanic tattoos. And they have the Shadow Dances of Loke. Any model can replace its hand weapons for a spear. Boo. You can have a musician and a champion, but not a banner. Okay, so let's go ahead and check out what their special rules do. Talismanic tattoos, 6 up ward save. Boo. But whatever, they'll keep a model alive when you need it. 15 points a model is hefty, though. Okay, so Shadow Dances of Loke. At the start of each round of close combat in which they are fighting, models with this special rule, the dancers, choose one of the following dances. This is done before impact hits are resolved. All dancers in the unit must choose the same dance. Dancers cannot choose the same dance in 2 consecutive rounds of combat. Okay, so you can choose to have Killing Blow, not bad. Storm of Blades, you can plus 1 attack. The Shadow's Coil for a 3-up ward save. Now, granted, it's only melee, but. Woven Mist. Enemies in base contact with the unit receive no combat result bonus for extra ranks. I like a lot of this, except their point cost. They could really... Okay, removing your opponent's combat bonus for extra ranks could win you a combat. A 3-up ward save can have them hold up a monster or something, right? Plus 1 attack. Sure, fight some gribbly hordes. Armor piercing and killing blow could kill knights. They have many different uses. I think they're just far too frail to get the job done. 15 points a model. I mean, they're okay. So minimum squad 5, so you can pay 75 points. Interesting. I don't think they work anymore. I think the job you want them to do is better done by somebody else. Yet again, we haven't talked about them yet, but that's unfortunate. Are war dancers just too expensive to be viable? That being said, remember, anything can be used in the game. Okay, so remember I talked about heroes and war later on. Here's the first one, the Shadow Dancer. It is a special Wood Elf hero. Weapon skill 8, initiative 8. Strength 4, 2 wounds. Yeah, standard hero stuff, but weapon skill 8 and initiative 8 because they're fast and skilled. Okay, you get the Dances of Loke and Talismanic Tattoos. Oh, and Immune Psychology. What are you paying for this, boy? Alright, we gotta go this way to find that out. $100 points? Can I take magic items worth up to... Okay. He's also a wizard that can use some spells from the lore of... He may upgrade to a level 1 wizard for 60 points, 60 points, but must use from the lore of Shadow. No, way extremely overpriced for this guy. May only take magic items worth of 25 points. There's nothing to keep him alive. Toughness 3, 2 wounds, 6 up in one save. Extremely, ridiculously overcosted. I'm not even remotely interested in this. That's a huge fail. That's terrible. Try to find the next thing. Looks like Sisters of the Thorn are next. Okay, so Sisters of the Thorn ride some nice of the elk. A steed of Isha. The Sisters of the Thorn are 26 points per model. They are a mounted unit. They have that javelin, so they're the armor piercing javelin, and a hand weapon. They have the Daughters of Eternity, Deepwood Coven, Fast Cav, Forest Stalker, poison attacks to the riders. That's their javelins and stuff. And they can have a matter standard worth up to 50 points. So, 26 points per model. Okay, so we have standard Elven stats, except they have Ballistic Skill 5 and Leadership 9. The mount is Movement 9, Strength 4, Initiative 4. Okay, let's find out what you're getting for 26 points per model. Daughters of Eternity, they have a 4-up ward save. Love it. I like that. What was that weird laugh? I'll clear my throat. And then the Deepwood Coven. A unit of Sisters of the Thorn is considered to be a level 2 wizard that knows the spell Shield of Thorns. Not bad. Curse of Enter here. I love that spell. This doesn't prevent other friendly wizards from knowing the same spells. The unit receives an additional +1 to cast for each rank of 5 or more it has. 2 maximum +3. If they miscast, they take D3 wounds. I like these guys. These ladies. So you're going to pay 130 points for 5. and you're guaranteeing having the Curse of Ander here spell, plus their fast cav, with only 12-inch range, but Ballistic Skill 5, armor piercing on javelins that are poison, and a 4 board save? Yes, please. I personally would probably run a minimum of 1 unit of 5 of them every army I played with Wood Elves. Maybe 2. I love them. The next thing we're going to talk about is what I think is the true star of this book. And that is going to be the Wild Riders. The same 26 points per model as the Sisters of the Thorn. They come with a spear, light armor, and a hand weapon. They have always strikes first, obviously. Devastating charge, fast cav, they cause fear, 4 stalker. They have frenzy, and they have talismanic tattoo, so 6 board save. They can buy shields at 2 points per model, and then full command and a banner worth up to 50 points. Okay, so what are these guys? They are standard elven stats, except for they have weapon skill 5 and leadership 9. They have frenzy, so they mean psychology, so leadership's not that important until they lose combat, but they shouldn't do that. Okay, let's look at their special rules. Oh, sorry. Their base strength 4, as is their steed. Their steed of Kronos is movement 9, strength 4. Okay, so Wild Riders have a 6 up ward save. I feel like I'm missing something. Oh, because they have spears, that's what it is. So 2 attacks per model because of frenzy. At strength 5, weapon skill 5, because on the charge, I'm assuming +1 strength. Not bad for 130 points for 5 of them. It's too good. That's solid. This is why I don't think the War Dancers are that good. The War Dancers have more utility, but they're going to be harder to get into position. What you want to do is hit hard and hit on the flank. And War Dancers can do that. But the problem is the Wild Riders do it better. And I find myself, with the first time reading this book, going, okay, that's a pretty good unit, but the Wild Riders do that job better. Now, Frenzy can be a liability forcing the charge, but they come base leadership 9. So don't fail that leadership and you're fine. And devastating charge as well, right? Oh, devastating charge. That's +1 attack, right? Oh no, I don't have the book here. Devastating charge, it's been a while. I have to look it up. I don't have a book here. I don't want to get up and get a book. Yeah, devastating charge, I'm pretty sure positive +1 attack. That's 3 attacks per... Yeah, that's fantastic. Just don't get caught with these guys. Make sure you do your charging. And this is one of the problems with... Not problems. This is one of the I think, the great things about Wood Elves is you have to learn the movement phase. You have to master the movement phase. But if you do with this army, especially with this unit, you are greatly rewarded to move if you play movement phase. Honestly, I was going to do a Wood Elf army before I did my Orc and Goblins army because I love the movement phase of Warhammer Fantasy, and this army plays it so well. After talking to everybody, it was like nobody was excited for me to have another Elf army, which I totally get. So I went to Orcs and Goblins instead. Okay, what is next? We have all the tree people still. But we're going to go ahead and do Way Watchers. Way Watchers are a rare choice. They are your elite elven scouts. They watch the way. They have standard elven stats, except they have ballistic skill 5. They come with 2 hand weapons and the Wood Elf longbow. Always strikes first, 4 stalker, hawk-eye archer, scouts, and skirmish. So scout and skirmish, typical stuff you'd expect them. They are 20 points per model. They may not purchase special arrows, but whatever. Okay, let's go ahead and see what we're getting for 20 points per model with the hawk-eyed archer special rule. Before a model with this special rule makes a shooting attack, decide whether it will make a fast shot or aim shot. If the former is chosen, the model's missile weapon has a multiple shots 2 special rule for the duration of the attack. If the latter is chosen, armor saves cannot be taken against wounds caused by attack. Ooh, okay. So this is skill 5. You are going to suffer penalties. But your list is skill 5, and armor saves may not be taken. I like that one. I'm not going to use the multiple shot one that often, but these Way Watchers are Just another thing picking away at heavy cav that just don't seem to work in 8th anymore. So do you need them? I don't know if you need them in 8th edition, but if you're playing against Empire, you already have an advantage. Empire's not great. They're fun, but they're not that powerful. Just pulling off wounds off of Demigryph Knights and just Knights in general, that seems pretty dang good. And then we have Great Eagles for a rare choice at 50 points per model. We were talking about the stats. They fly around. The Great Eagle is the best model in the entire game as far as I'm concerned. You match the Muma phase, you match the Great Eagles. I believe having 2 Great Eagles in an army of Wood Elves is like a mainstay. You have to do it. There is a tactic that you can use Great Eagles to make your units completely unchargeable. I'm not going to explain how it works. I don't believe it belongs in the game. I don't think it's intended. It was just a, you know what? I probably shouldn't even brought it up. I don't believe anybody should ever do that, even in a tournament. But yeah, Great Eagles always bring 2. And your first 50 games, they're going to die and do nothing to help until you start to figure out how to really use them, and they completely dictate the way a game is played. Okay, so before we get on to special and magical things, we have to talk about the 4 spites. Spirits or spites? I think it might make spites. It doesn't matter. We have Treeman, Treekin, and Dryads. Okay, so a Treeman, we'll start with the Treeman. He's your big bad Treeman. He is your end. 225 points and rare choice. Movement 5, weapon skill and ballistic skill 6. Strength 5, toughness 6 is nice. 5 wounds, initiative 2, 5 attacks, leadership 9. He's flammable. He's a tree. 4 spirit special rule, so we know he has a 6 board save, and all his attacks are magical. He's a large target. He has a scaly skin 3+. Stubborn, nice. Terror, and tree whack. 225 points for this guy, and he upgraded to take Strangle Roots for 20 points. Okay, Strangle Root is a shooting attack. It's range 12, strength 5, multiple shots, d6+1. He has ballistic skill 6, right? It's not a bad upgrade. I'd probably buy it every time. It's only range 12, and within range 12, you probably declared your charge. I feel like you're only ever going to get 1 shooting attack with this unless you're really using it. No, that's not true. You know what? In a Wood Elf playstyle, you can really use this guy to help dictate the table. So I'd pay the 20 points upgrading all day long. The tree whack special rule. A model of the special rule can choose to make a single tree whack in place of making a normal attack. You declare before you roll the hit. Nominate a single enemy model in base contact with the treeman. You must pass an initiative test or suffer d6 wounds with no armor saves allowed. Kind of like that. A character with a special rule may use a tree whack in a challenge. Okay, so that's awesome. I would say treeman 1 standard in your army. Whether it fits in your playstyle or not, it's a treeman. It belongs in your army. You have to have treeman. You're playing Wood Elves. And then there's a treeman ancient, which is a character version. I believe it's a lord version. Just go ahead and double check that he's lord, because he used to be. Well, I'm not going to presume nothing. Treeman Ancient is still a lord for 290 points. What? Why is his stats terrible? Okay. That's got to be a misprint. His stats are very different from the Treeman. And they're printed the same in the back. Okay. Well, the Treeman Ancient is movement 5. He has the same combat stats. Well, sorry, he has the same strength and toughness, initiative, and leadership as a regular treeman. So he's strength 5, toughness 6, 6 wounds actually, 2 initiative. He only has 3 attacks. And weapon skill and blitz skill 4, where the treeman has weapon skill, blitz skill 6. The ancient only weapon skill, blitz skill 4, but leadership 10. He is a lord, and he costs 290 points, significantly more. He is a level 2 wizard who knows the spells from Lore of Life. He upgraded to level 3 for 35 points, and level 4 for 70 points more. Making him level 4, what's he going to cost? 360 points? I'd pay that. He can buy Strangle Roots for 200 points. He has the same rules as the Treeman, but he can't buy magic stuff. Do I want a Treeman Ancient? Just to be another wizard? Nah. Unless I have no points left over in rare, because I spent them all. No? No? I mean, I can buy in a 2,000 point game 2 Treemen and a Great Eagle. As long as I don't upgrade them to have Strangle Roots. In a 2,400 point game, I would take 2 Treemen, both with Strangle Roots, and 2 Great Eagles. Is 2 Treemen too much? I mean, a cannon can still drop them, obviously, right? But hopefully you got that cannon first. I love the Treeman. Not overly sold in the Treeman Ancient anymore. Working our way backwards, we got, where are the Treekin? Treekin for 45 points per model. They are unit size 3+. They cause fear. They're flammable. They have the 4 Spirit Special Roll. They have a Scaly Skin 4+. And they are monstrous infantry. Movement 5, Weapon Skill 4, Strength 4, Toughness 5, 3 wounds, 3 initiative, 3 attacks, leadership 8. Not bad stats at all, actually. But flammable is, their reliability. But you gotta have that. But, monstrous infantry with a 4-up save. Oh, no, actually, there's only 3 Strength 4 attacks. Nah, I don't like them. 3, they're ogres. They're expensive ogres. They're expensive ogres with flammable. Ooh, no. No, I don't like these guys. No, I don't know if they're worth their points at all. Also, I don't think you can buy them. I mean, you haven't been able to buy them forever. And the last one is Dryads that are a core choice. They are 11 points per model. They have Fear, Force Spirit, and Hatred. They have Movement 5, Weapon Skill 4, Strength 3, Toughness 4, 1 wound, 5 attack, initiative 5, 2 attacks, leadership 8. Not bad for what you're paying there. 11 points per model for toughness 4. You have a 6 ward save. They're on a 25 mil base. So they're going to get less attacks against a 20 mil base, and they're going to have more against you. And their toughness, they're the only defense toughness 4 and 6 ward save. It's not terrible, but 2 strength 3 attacks each. Movement 5. You know what? They fit a theme. Unless you're going for a theme, I don't know what they do for you in your army. So I love the option, but I'm not overly interested in buying Dryads or having Dryads in my army at all. Okay, so those are all the units. Wild Riders, love them. Glade Guard, love them. Glade Riders, I kind of like them as well, actually. And then, you want your standard... Well, you want your Treemen, your Warhawk Riders, your Great Eagles. There's only so many points left, right? Let's talk about magical stuff. Okay, so we can take the lore of high magic, and we can take the lore of dark magic on our level 4s. The lore attribute for high magic. Okay. Whenever, I've never read this before. Whenever a wood elf wizard successfully casts a spell from this lore, and it is not dispelled, place a protection marker next to him once the spell has been resolved. Whenever the wizard or a model in the same unit as him suffers an unsaved wound and there are 1 or more protection markers next to him, remove a protection marker and treat the wound as being saved. Okay. Drain Magic is one of their 2 signature spells. Range 18. I mean, I covered all these spells in the High Elf review, but I guess I'll do it again. Drain Magic, I think, is a fantastic spell, but it's also situational. It can be Augment or Hex. It hex on the enemy and augment a friendly unit. It will remove all remains in place spells on the unit. You can have it target all friend and foe units within 18 inches to change the casting value from 7+ to a 14 to cast. It's a really good spell. And you can cast it just to get the protection attribute. It could be good for Wild Riders, I guess. I mean, you mount them on a horse, ride around with Wild Riders. Can you do that? They're fast cav. Yeah, I don't know if I really like the protection. Okay, the Soul Quench is their other signature spell, so they have 2 different spells you can swap into. It's a magic missile with 2d6 strength 4 hits, casting value 8, range 18. You can increase the casting value to 16+ and make it 46 strength 4 hits. That's a solid spell. Apotheosis, you can heal a unit and give them fear. Yeah. It just doesn't do anything for your army other than heal. Hand of Glory, you increase your... Sorry, you pick... It's an augment with range 18. Pick a unit and increase their weapon skill, blitz skill, initiative, or movement by D3. You can increase the value from 5 to cast to 10 to cast and increase them all by D3. You don't care about ballistic skill because you're going to probably buy True Flight arrows. You can increase their movement. I don't know. It doesn't... I just don't see ever taking the lore of high magic with Wood Elves. Walk between worlds, you basically teleport a unit. They move as if they're a unit can move in the magic phase, as if they're ethereal and move through things. Tempest is a strength 3 large blast that scatters D6. And if you're hit by it, it's only strength 3. If you're hit by it, you -1 hit with shooting attacks. Arcane Unforging, you can like remove an enemy's magic item. If you want greater detail, you can jump into the High Elf one. I just don't think... In a player convocation is a good spell. It's 19 to cast. So it remains in play, direct damage with a range of 24. Every Malna unit takes a strength 4 hit. And then at the end of every magic phase, yours or your opponent's, they're going to take another strength 4 hit until your opponent removes it. It's a good spell. I just don't know what this lore does for Wood Elves. So the High Elves have a similar issue. The lore of High Magic in 8th edition just doesn't do a whole lot for Elves. Lizardmen can take it, and it does not bad for them, actually. But the lore of High Magic is kind of a lackluster spell, though that being said, or it's lackluster lore. That being said, I've actually used it plenty with my High Elves, just for the flavor of it. Like, whatever, you try different things out, play different things. Just because this is lackluster, not by any means the best one, doesn't mean you're never going to use it. It can be fun to play around with. I just don't know what it does that other lores can't do better. Lore of Dark Magic, I think, is a fantastic lore. The lore attribute for the Wood Elves with the lore of Dark Magic is whenever a Wood Elf says to cast a spell from this lore, and the spell is not dispelled, place a Vengeance counter next to the target. Whenever a unit with the Vengeance counter suffers a hit from the lore of Dark Magic, remove those counters and increase the number of hits inflicted by D3. Each Vengeance counter, increased by D3 for each Vengeance counter. Roll separately. I kind of like that. I mean, it's more the same. But it's not a useless lore. And so let's look at the spells first. So 2 signature spells. You have Power of Darkness, casting 8. It's an augment spell. It targets the caster's unit, so you're not going to benefit from the attribute, but whatever. All Mauls in the unit have +1 to their strength characteristic at the start of the caster's next magic phase. Then add D3 power dice to your pool. If 3 dice are generated, the caster suffers a wound with no armor saves allowed. You get your ward save. I like it. I don't know how useful that is for Wood Elves. I mean, yeah, for Wood Elves. It's more of a Dark Elf spell. Doom Bolt is your other signature spell. It's casting value 12. It's a magic missile with a range of 18. It causes 2d6 strength 5 hits. The wizard can then choose a more powerful version and make it 4d6 strength 5 hits, but it becomes range 24. Doom Bolt is like the greatest signature spell in the game as far as I'm concerned. This spell is amazing. Like, it doesn't add any finesse to your army, but your wizards are just adding more range damage. And it's at strength 5, 2d6 strength 5 hits. I mean, it is 12 to cast, but you can guarantee you have the spell. And then with the Vengeance marker, I mean, keep plinking away at the unit. I love Doombolt, and I think it works very well with Wood Elves. That being said, High, Beast, Life, Fire, tons of lores, Death, tons of lores work well with the Wood Elves. Chillwind is the first actual spell that you can roll. Casting value of 5+ is a magic missile with a range of 24. It causes 2d6 strength 2 hits. If the target suffers any unsaved wounds, they're -1 to their ballistic skill until the next magic phase. I love that spell. It has utility and does damage. Plus, I mean, you get that first Vengeance counter on the unit, and then you hit him with a Doom Bolt after that for extra D3 more strength 5 hits. Chillwind, great spell. Word of Pain, 9+ to cast. It is a hex with a range of 24. All Mauls and target units suffer -D3 to their weapon skill and ballistic skill. if you make the casting value 12 plus, you can make it a more powerful version, and the unit suffers -3 to their strength and initiative. Amazing, amazing spell. -D3 strength. If you have to go in with your wild riders and you don't break them on the charge, they're not doing any damage back. Again, Word of Pain is probably it's far more beneficial for Dark Elves who are going to want to rank and flank you. But I mean, if your opponent is very shooty, lowering their Blister skill so they can't kill your guys is not bad either. Word of Pain, better for Dark Elves than it is for Wood Elves, but not a bad spell for Wood Elves. It's no Chill Wind, it's no Doombolt though. Blade Wind, 9+ to cast, is a direct damage spell with a range of 24. Every model in the unit must pass the weapon skill test or suffer a strength 4 hit with the armor piercing special rule. What? Blade Wind will destroy goblins and skinks and stuff. Wait, what? That spell's amazing. I mean, your standard weapon skill is 3, right? You gotta do weapon skill test and then you suffer a strength 4 hit. Okay, so it's not okay. It sounds really, really good, and don't get me wrong, it is. You gotta do your weapon skill test first, and if you fail it, you take a strength 4 hit, and that still has to wound. So that's dice rolling. It's not gonna be crippling. It's a pretty good spell though. It's only 9 to cast. Okay, Shroud of Despair for 10+ to cast. A hex that targets all enemies within 12. Targets cannot benefit from Hold the Line or Inspiring Presence. In addition, when they fail a leadership test of any kind, they suffer -1 to their leadership to the start of the next magic phase. Ooh, and it's commutative with itself. I'm trying to decide if I like this. Yeah, I do. It's going to be hard to pull off. So I think you want, if you're going to take the lore of dark magic, you want your spell singer, or we've heard what they're called. You want them on a horse to go run up close to the enemy when you're ready to go ahead and send all the chargers in after you soften them up. But maybe that's a liability. I don't know. I think I would play around with this spell. I feel like I like its effects, but to set up a situation where you're within 12 of them and get the spell off, and I think there's too many steps to really enjoy about this spell. I like the idea of it, but I don't know if it's going to pull off on the regular or work on the regular. Soul Eater is 11+ to cast. It's a direct damage spell. You place a small round template anywhere within 18 of the wizard. It scatters D6. All models hit by the template suffer a strength 2 hit with no armor saves allowed. Roll D6 for each unsaved wound inflicted by Soul Eater. For each 4+, the caster immediately gains a single wound. To a maximum of 10, so you go over your starting amount. I kind of dig that. You can increase the range to 36, and it's casting value of 14. Oh, I like this. It's only strength 2. But I mean, I like it. No armor saves allowed, right? I mean, you can kill knights. You can devastate a knight unit. You gotta roll 5s to wound most knights, but whatever. And they can still do serious work, because it's only 11 to cast. Yeah, I like this spell. It's a good spell. Alright. 15 to cast. Arns of Paul's Black Horror. Remains in play. It's a magical vortex that uses the small round template. Once the template is placed, the player then nominates the direction in which the Black Horror will move. To determine how many inches the template moves, roll an artillery die and multiply the results by the caster's level. Any animal touched by, passed over, or whatever must take a strength test or be slain outright with no armor saves allowed. You may take ward saves. And keep in mind, you have a spell that can lower your opponent's strength by D3. Strength test or die. If the result of the artillery die is a misfire, send the template in the typical vortex stuff. Okay, you can increase the template size to a large template, making the casting value 25. Black Horror, crazy good. Okay. I like dark magic. That being said, I really like dark magic because of Doom. Lore of Life, still going to be good. Lore of Fire, going to be very good for a Wood Elf player. Lore of Shadow, going to be very good for a Wood Elf player. Lore of Death can be very good for a Wood Elf player. So I don't think you have to use the Dark Lord of Dark Magic by any means, but it is a solid one if you so choose to. Okay, let's talk about the Heirlooms of Athel. So we're going to talk about the Spirit Sword first. It is an 85-point magic weapon. I haven't read it yet. I don't know what it does, but I can guarantee it's going to be terrible because there isn't a single one of these that are worthwhile. Armor saves cannot be taken against wounds caused by the Spirit Sword. Furthermore, immediately when an enemy character, champion, or monster suffers unsaved wound from the Spirit Sword, both he, the wielder, must roll 2d6 and add their special leadership. If the wounding model's total is higher, or the totals are the same, nothing happens. If the wounded model's total is lower, it merely suffers a wound for each point in which the total is exceeded with no armor saves allowed. I'm never, ever. I got bored reading that. That's terrible. Terrible. Alright, Dace Reaper, 50-point magic weapon. All fail to hit into wound rolls made by the Reaper must be re-rolled. As must all successful armor saves taken against the weapon. I'm not going to use it. Who's going to take that weapon? I'm going to be... No, I don't... I mean, if a Warriors of Chaos... A model with... No. No, not even them. At Strength 4, that's not... It's just uninteresting. I'd rather spend 40 points for the Ogre Blade. The Bow of Loren for 20 points. It's a Wood Elf Longbow. With the multiple shots, tax plus 1 special. Oh, okay. So if your Lord is firing his 4 attacks on his profile, it fires 5 shots. It cannot fire enchanted arrows. Okay, whatever. It's only 20 points. Helm of the Hunt for 20 points. The wearer of the Helm of the Hunt confers his armor save as being 1 higher than normal. Furthermore, the Helm of the Hunt grants the bear devastating charge and plus 1 weapon skill in the turn in which he charges into combat. Okay. Acorn of Ages for 100 points. You're going to use this 100% of the time. 1 use only to start the game after the battlefield has been set up. But before deployment begins, place D3 Citadel Woods on the battlefield. A force can be placed anywhere at least 1 inch away from other terrain features and the edge of the battlefield. Once all forces are in place, scatter each 2d6 using the scatter die, blah, blah, blah. And if you hit other terrain, whatever, reduce it by the minimum to not fall off the table, obviously. And then you pick, when this is done, declare which type of force you want these to be. Choose from, okay, so you pay 100 points and you add D3. You already add 1 to the game. You add D3 more force to the table. And you pick what mysterious force they are. I would do this 100% of the time without a doubt. Always bring a Lord that can afford a 100-point magic item that can then bring this. Every time. The trees are your friends. Moonstone of the Hidden Ways for 40 points. It's an enchanted item. If the bearer's unit is wholly within a forest at the end of your moon phase and is not in close combat, it can force walk. If it does, remove from the battlefield and immediately place it wholly within the forest. Sorry, any force on the battlefield in the same formation, but facing the direction. I like this. Oh, but the counts having marched. I mean, it's only really good for like a unit of Glade Riders to like teleport from forest to forest. They have Forest Strider because they have Force. Would I do it? Would I do it? I don't know. No. I don't know how to use this item. Comment below if you know how to use this item. I'm not seeing it, but there probably is like, oh, obviously it's good for this situation. Yeah, how do you use the Moonstone of the Hidden Ways? I want to know. Hail of Doom Arrow, it's been around forever. It was an auto-include forever for what else. It is a 30-point enchanted item. 1 use only, a model with an Arsari Longbow can buy this. You can fire the Hail of Doom Arrow instead of making a shooting attack. Declare before it's any dice are rolled. Range 30, Strength 4, Armor Piercing, multiple shots, 3d6. Okay. That was significantly more powerful in previous editions. The model count over the years has nerfed this item. It's less likely to do... it used to do amazing things. Now it can just do things. I would still bring it. almost every game, if not every game. It's just not the crazy good item it used to be. But maybe that's for a good thing, right? For a net benefit for all of us. Okay, Kalangor's Stave for 20 points. The bear generates one less spell than normal for his wizard level, but knows the tree singing spell. Tree singing is a casting value 8. It is an augment spell. Targets a single forest within 18 of the caster. If there are no units from the forest, it immediately moves d6 plus 1 inches in a direction of your choice. Forest cannot move within one of other units or other terrain features. Aw. If there's at least one friendly or enemy unit within the forest, then the forest does not move. Instead, choose a single enemy unit partially in the forest. It suffers 2d6 strength 4 hits. The wizard can choose to have the spell target all forest until casting volume of 16. Okay, I want to love it. But the fact that you can't come within 1 inch of enemy units is unfortunate. You only move d6 plus 1. I don't know why that restriction's there. I want to love it, but it feels they made it so restricting that it doesn't matter. It's too situational. That's unfortunate. But it's only 20 points, so I might bring in... If I was playing Wood Elves, I would bring this on the regular and keep trying it until it worked, but I'd probably use my magic dice elsewhere. Okay, so we have magic banners. Now the banner of the Eternal Queen, 100 points. You grant magic resistance 3. In addition, once per game, all models in the same unit have the Unbreakable special rule. 100 points. On a character you can't really protect, right? Banner of the Hunter King, 75 points. All models in the unit have the Vanguard deployment special rule. And can reroll the first failed charge. Problem is, your BSB is going to die shortly after that, I think. Oh, that's it. Okay, I'm not a big fan of the banners. But I love the aesthetic and the playstyle of the army. So, bring Glade Guard. Buy True Flight arrows. Comment below if your opinion on the Enchanted Arrow issue. I'm of the mind of I'm going to let my opponent bring as many True Flight arrows as they so wish. Unless somebody can be like, here's clearly like not intended, but whatever. Like an FAQ says, no, we never intended that. Don't do it. We find it overpowered. I don't think it is, but whatever. Treatment, awesome. Treekin, boo. Dryads, boo. Warhawk Riders, ooh. Great Eagles, always. And fill your table with force. I mean, if you play Wood Elves, go ahead and buy a bunch of Citadel Woods that you can't buy anymore. I guess you can use the new style and use the... No, it doesn't really work. Yeah, you can use the new style of Citadel Woods and play with the inside diameter, or inside circle, I should say, be the woods. That being said, this is a hard army to start. You can purchase almost nothing. What can you get for this army? You can get Dryads. You can get Treemen. You can't get Treekin. You can buy the Lord of the Rings Great Eagles. You can't get Warhawk Riders. You can't get Glade Guard. I don't think you can get Glade Riders. You can get the... Oh, what are they called? Stop. Wildwood Rangers, you can get them. But, like, the vast majority of this army is just not available. So if you don't own a Wood Elf army, you're probably not buying. You can buy Wild Riders and you can buy Sisters of Thorn, but like nothing's available. So it's not an army you can feasibly start nowadays outside of eBay and other websites that are just going to charge you out the nose. So basically, if you're starting Wood Elves, you got a bunch of money, or you're just watching this video for fun and you probably know better than me. And if I've been talking out my butt the whole time, by all means, point out where I was wrong. But yeah, I love Wood Elves. I really enjoyed everything about them, and I almost did the army, but Josh did them, so fortunately Josh couldn't be here today. So let me know what you think. Wood Elves, big yay. Unfortunately, no more do Wood Elf armies out there. Thanks for watching, everybody. Stay tuned for more of these reviews. Go do bull.